Hey, I'm back. Wanted to finish up this post or start this post and have it be strictly these new drawings I made, and it's mostly just paradise. And I wanted to show how giant and just unfathomably huge the creation of wonderful God is, and it's loving, amazing being that has been able to share existence with us all to the point that personally becomes part of our lives. Anyway, let's get to this. Show you this. So we have, of course, the super giant whole existence here of paradise and the super universes. Where we are down here in 7, but I wanted to show you over here. I drew this just now, basically to show the giant. So they're under the 7 super universes. Each one has about a trillion worlds. Some, inhabitable planets. They're not all inhabitable. Some are in the process, still forming. Some, are going through a different phase, what have you. When you get into that light and life, settle in light and life, where the heavens are made new and the earth's made new. That's what I'm talking about. There's a transitional phase there. But so yeah, it's a giant, and you have in each 7 super universes all together. There's 7 trillion potentially inhabited planets. And then I got the breakdown of like the rulers, where the Ancient of Days, which is mentioned in the Bible a little bit, says there's each super universe is ruled by 3 of these. They're like representations of the Trinity, paradise. And then basically you have these perfection of days and recent of days, and those explain a little bit more, but they're basically the ambassadors of Trinity, paradise, to help with the other associated rulers and created rulers, like our guy Michael here in our local universe, that can inhabit basically 700,000 constellations. So that's a lot. So one universe can have like 10 million worlds. So that's a lot of beings to be in charge of, and souls out there. And people want to be like, well, we're the only planet with inhabitable life, and we got this giant universe that's been out there this whole time, and for humans to be that arrogant and to think that they're the only ones created by God, but wouldn't it be even more loving and perfect to know that there's this vast creation out there, all this, and there's so many different potential souls that can make the pilgrimage to find God. And it's not just one planet, there's so much, and we'll get into that, and the destinies of life in general, and whatever. But that's part of man's pitfalls, is selfishness, and always about himself, me. There's looking past and like the grand picture and other things. But we'll break it down. We didn't really break it down before, but the Paradise and Havana circuit, can be considered a circuit, but really Paradise is by itself, and they are considered the divine universe together, but really the central universe is a little bit separate from Paradise, since it actually is in motion around non-moving Isle of Paradise, which is giant in form. It has mass, and their spirit mass, however you want to make it out. We'll find out. Hopefully, long time. But anyway, where we're at out here, I'm guessing somewhere on the perimeter. So when we look in our telescopes, we can see out here in outer space. But and then when we look in, I'm sure we see a that cosmic background or what have you. And then with that on there, when I get to this space respiration, where I got the Isle of Paradise here. It's almost like a giant disc in my mind, with the dimension it gives you as being 1/10 the diameter here than the east to west, and it's not perfect, but periphery kind of. To me, I'm thinking, at first, like how many Earths would line this periphery, but really it's probably how many Milky Ways or systems would line it. It's that gigantic, and so that's the only place it's approachable to a paradise. So, and like you think there's going to be a border or drop off, really there's not, because it's so vast. You walk on the Earth, you don't see a border, really, a horizon, the end of it. It's so vast, and then this is going to be millions of times bigger than that. And then these drawing these arrows, basically I got, you can picture above paradise, the upper paradise, there's a reservoir of unpervaded space, which means it doesn't have the energies and matter and forces that pervaded space does, which we exist in. And so then this outward, these blue arrows, basically is the pervaded space that has the energies and manifestations and realities, what I have, living eternal Father and everything He wills, which you can argue against that or whatever with man's will too. But speaking of another gift of God is man's will is sovereign in itself. There's no celestial beings that no God even makes you forces your own will, and that's kind of a beautiful and can be a setback, because the will can basically, you can will yourself to destruction by your choices or have you. I'm not sure what everyone's choice is, if there is a final choice you can make or whatnot, but perhaps anyway, line your will with God's is the best thing I think you can do, and not worry so much about punishment or this or that, but to just try and think about the Father's will, not so much selfish deeds or whatever. But anyway, let's get to the paradise spheres. I kind of drew a couple here. Zoom out, and one is upper paradise, one is nether. And yeah, I should have drawn the upper paradise letters bigger. But so anyway, you got basically the center where there's a deity presence, and surrounding that is the most holy sphere, where you have reserved for a function of worship and trinitization and high spiritual attainment. And yeah, my circles are crude and stuff. I did it kind of fast, and it's hard to draw elliptical circles. But yeah, so there's these 7 concentric circles, or zones, have you, and these are like the Father's mansions. And we're talking about how the peripheral is so giant, to just transverse that to get in there to these Father's mansions in paradise. And these are like residential zones that are set up. I mean, how giant these are. And according to Tub, the Rancher book, there is probably like 4% of these are even occupied by basically people or beings, mortals that have made the ascension and become part of God's plan, and of course the finaliters or what have you, and other not other beings. There's Heavenites that also reside here, like I'm sure who wouldn't want to be on paradise, I mean, come on now. So I mean, besides the central universe is probably perfected, or is perfected, I mean, but billion spheres, this giant paradise, loving God, just never ending to what potential is out there. And yeah, then it's nether paradise is kind of what I think of as God the power there. It's got all the different unknown, unrevealed zone of infinity as directly underneath the Trinity. It's unnamed area, and this place where like it says no personalities have been. They don't sojourn here. They don't visit here. It's basically like so much God power. And underneath here is also another vessel, the reservoir, however you, the unpervaded space. So it's like a double hourglass, you think of it, and with the unpervaded space, superior and inferior to paradise, and the pervaded space going out horizontally, have you east or from paradise. So anyway, these different zones, they do have a little bit of information about them. And you have the inner, mid, and outer zone. And basically, the inner zone, it says this gigantic heartbeat. We are direct current to outermost borders of physical space, and directs and modifies force energies, but does not drive them. So that basically, to me, is of the manifestations of physical space happening. And then you get your creators out there making galaxies with the nebula formations and whatnot. My understanding, somewhat, I'm sure it's flawed and whatever, but you got mid zone, kind of a possible mechanism for an aiding in space respiration, or the mechanism of turning unpervaded space into pervaded space, what have you. And then the outer zone is the largest, most active, and basically they talk about these waves, these emanations, and these like one thing that's a little different than the other units of gravity, like the how they're kind of centralized, and I depict them being like spiral almost, maybe, but that's just how my mind works, I guess. But in here, these emanations, they don't quite aren't spiral. They go in and out in phases, almost like the space respiration is cycles, where they go in contraction, expansion. Here you got uh, outgoing or incoming emanations, and this Rancher book explains how like it's pretty much going to change here soon, where it's outgoing now, and pretty soon it's going to be ingoing or incoming to. So that'll be interesting to see what that means, or if that changes anything or whatnot. But anyway, zoom back out. Sorry for being blurry. I get to talking. Forget I got a camera going on here, and space respiration, and my drawings are crude, but hopefully they can help with some of the putting the words together, and not everyone's mind works the same, whatever, and no mind, people could probably draw so much better. It'd be amazing. But anyway, these are pretty simple drawings that I did over like days, like not very long, but anyway, it's good talking to you, and sure hope everyone has a nice, safe holiday, and definitely be careful out there, and just maybe take time to reflect that there is a creator out there that has done amazing things and will continue to, and can do amazing things within you and through you. And one of these days, maybe we'll all get to meet up in paradise and talk about stuff and reflect and sojourn, and theorize on the things that they haven't figured out yet. All right, guys. Later. God bless. Peace.